Hello, Dr. Karen here, and this is episode 17 of the Healthy Habits, Healthy Life series. So every week I do a new video on one of the what I think is a healthy habit that I have and to share it with you in case it resonates with you, in case it's something that you want to do, whether it be for fun or just to feel like healthier. So instead of giving you like 52 pieces all at once, I thought I would do it once a week for at least the whole year just to give you an idea and pace it out to see which ones you like to try, see if it works for you. If it does, keep it. If it doesn't, throw it out. No big deal, right? So today's video is around practicing opposites. Now, what this means is that if you are right-handed, for example, you will more than likely do a lot of things with your right hand. And it's not that it's wrong, it's just that it makes our bodies uneven. And we kind of mindlessly, do things with our dominant side as well. And that goes for those that are left handed. Now, interestingly enough, left handed people have more balanced bodies when it comes to their structure and their fascia. And the reason is that it's a right-handed world. So they have had to accommodate, like for example, right-handed scissors, things like that. So they're a little bit more even because they have to use their right hand more often than right-handed people need to use their left hand. So what happens is if we constantly use the same side all the time for everything, is the side that is dominant, like this is my right side and that's dominant, it is stronger. It's also more flexible, interestingly enough, and there's more like range of motion. Now, that's not always true given, sometimes there's injuries and things like that. Deanna Hanson from Block Therapy, and I'll be talking about block therapy in another video, shared that as we get older, the effects of gravity and sitting and our just general posture, what happens is that we curl into the center like this and it twists like a vortex. So the fascia just kind of locks down into the bone, and the one sidedness also contributes to that locking down. So when you use the other side consciously and mindfully, you help to prevent some of that. So let me give you some examples of in my everyday life what I've been practicing, and you can see whether or not, that works for you. Um, Hi there. Okay, so some from Mojave. Oh, how cool. I haven't been there before. All right, so let me show you. So I have, for example, we did coffee hacks as one of the healthy habits. So I have my morning decaf, bulletproof, if you will, type coffee in the morning. So this is the right hand. And so I can drink it through the right hand. However, if I want to show you the beautiful logo, okay, it says cultivate kindness, I can do the drinking from the left hand. So, mhm, see that? All right. So that's an example is eating, if I'm right-handed, which I am, instead of eating with the right hand, like fork, spoon, something like that, I can use the left hand. Now, I'm not at that place right now where I can be really good with chopsticks. It's like, okay, if you really want to be hungry, try chopsticks. The food might get cold. Anyway, but that is advanced. My husband can do it. My husband can do it, but haven't gotten there yet. But so right now I'm practicing, lifting things with the opposite hand. Now the funny thing is I've been practicing this for a little while, and after I injured my wrist a little over 2 weeks ago, I couldn't hold anything, in this hand. So it was very obvious to me, like, wow, look at how much you were practicing it, because I had to do everything with the right hand. And I was like, okay, now it became a habit to use the left hand as much. So the other things I have been practicing with the left hand is like heavier things. For example, pouring like the from the water jug to the Mayu swirl, things that are heavier, and just practicing using the non-dominant hand to do heavier things, reaching for things. Um, And sometimes you may even notice that you're more efficient because you're not like cross body reaching for something. You're just reaching for something like this, which is kind of cool. And in block therapy, which I'll talk about in another video, we actually, attempt to even out the body. And you can definitely tell that both sides are quite different. Like from bottom to top when you do block therapy. So it kind of informs you. So the other things you can do with opposites, brushing your teeth, right? That's a good one. So brushing your teeth. We talked about eating, pouring, opening doors. Um, Now, depending on which side the door's on, it's the right-handed, so it's usually more often we use our right hand. But when you go on from the other side, you can open it with your left hand, for example. So that you may already have that habit. The other things you can do, and it's also really good for your mind as well, and to challenge your mind a little bit to get out of a rut. So when we have thoughts, sometimes negative thoughts from childhood, it's kind of like etched in there in our subconscious. And when you purposefully use the opposite side, then it kind of helps to neurologically, pathway wise, dislodge some of those things as well. So as you become more flexible with the right and left sides of your body, guess what? Your mind, at least in my experience, becomes more flexible as well, which is super cool, right? So, some of the things you can do is, for example, if you are right handed and you always put your car keys or your house keys in your right hand side pocket, learn to put it in your left hand side pocket. This is one of the tips and hacks that we talk about in my Unlock Your Superpowers program, which is all about manifesting. So it's just like a tiny little thing you can do, every day to remind yourself you're in your ideal new reality. So you can use this as part of like, hey, this is the new reality: peace, love, joy, harmony for all, right? Or whatever it else that you want to manifest. So putting your keys on the left hand side, or whatever else you put in your pocket. If you have like some sort of lip balm, you could put it on the opposite side. So then you maybe look for the right hand side. Whoop, it's not there. Right. And then you go on to the left hand side and it's there. And then as you develop these habits, it becomes more second nature. And then your body begins to balance out that second nature as well. The other things that you can do is, in your shower, you can scrub yourself, make sure you scrub yourself with, both sides, not just use your dominant hand to do the washing and scrubbing. Same thing if you are vacuuming, that's a good one. Um, when you vacuum, everybody wants to vacuum on their dominant side, right? Because it's faster, it's more efficient. But see if you can, even for a little bit, do it with the other side and being mindful of how the body feels. It may feel very awkward at the beginning, and you might bump into furniture because you're not as proficient with that other side. But if you can, do that, that's a really good one because there's a lot of fascia and muscles and ligaments and tendons, involved in that action of vacuuming or like window washing or things like that. So if you use that non-dominant hand, that can really help to, rebalance you to some degree. And I've noticed that I'm much better now at doing things with my left hand just from the practice of it, you as you practice, you get more proficient. That's the way it is. Now, one of the things that I used to do, I say used to because I haven't been doing African drumming in our drumming group for quite some time. But we do have, these big drums, that you hit with sticks on the side, and then you hit the bell with the other hand. And then we have the typical, djembe drumming that you probably have seen. So what I used to do whenever I learned a pattern and got pretty good at it, I would start doing it with the opposite hand, with the exception of when we were performing, because I just want to be perfect, right? Or as close to perfect. Hey, Rosemary, good to see you here. So I would, when we were practicing and learning something new, as soon as I think I got it, I got the rhythm, then I would switch sides. So, for example, with the doon doons, which are the really big ones on the side, other small ones too. But anyway, so normally I'd hit the bell with the left and then hit the big drum, with the right stick, right? And do do and there's this whole pattern. So once I really got that, I would switch sides. I put the stick in the left hand, and then I put the bell in this one, and it kind of messes with the mind for a little bit, and you're like, kind of uncoordinated. And then I get the hang of it, and it's like a interesting switch in the brain. It's like, whoa, what are you doing? But it was amazing. I think it helps. I used to be a very, very inflexible person up here, flexible in the body, but not in the mind. And I do believe that some of these practices do help me become more flexible in the mind. It's not necessarily, I'm very open, but flexibility, sometimes I just like things to do it like this way, So I think it helps me with that brain flexibility as well, because the right side, left hand side of the brain, um, oftentimes when we're right-handed, we're left side dominant and vice versa. Not necessarily, but the point is that the right and left sides of the brain are not always balancing out and talking to each other. So when we're practicing these opposites, it actually helps those connections between the right and left sides of the brain communicate. And it's like that corpus callosum, which is in the middle, which are those fibers that cross right and left. Some people don't have a lot of fibers, or they say women have better access to the right and left sides of the brain, like this communication, than men. That may cease to be true in the future. At least that's what the science had shown in the past. So you can actually practice this where you are purposefully using the non-dominant hand to increase that communication and the balance between the right and left sides of your brain. How cool is that? So the other things you can do, for example, when you're going up and down stairs, you may notice that you always start with that one leg, right? So think about it and start with the other leg. That's just another example of, you know, of doing the opposite. So I really liked, doing the drumming and using the opposite hand and being proficient at it. Um, and the funny thing is I really encouraged people to do the same thing in our group, and when we would teach. My husband would teach drumming and things like that, and I stopped in the classes because it was challenging to already hold the rhythm with the pattern that they were taught, and then to ask them to switch, it was a little too much. But me being there hours and hours and hours, over many years, got pretty good at it. So I just continued switching. And I think that helped to strengthen both sides of the body as well, right? um so yeah. So right hand, left hand, being balanced, helping those fibers connect and communicate with each other. So if you want to do something really fun right now, this is a little bit of a right brain, left brain fun thing you can do just to test things out in your coordination. um, and don't concern yourself if you're like, I can't do this yet. Well, practice it. It's kind of fun. Do this with kids too. This is super fun with kids. So this is kind of like I'd call it like a brain balancing, brain gym kind of thing. So you clap, okay, and then you pinch your nose with one hand, and then you cross over with the other and pinch your ear. I mean, just not hard, right here, like this. Okay, you see how the nose one is underneath. So then you're going to clap, and then you're going to do the opposite. Okay, got it? All right. So clap, cross, clap, cross, clap, cross, clap, cross. I know some of you are like, "Ugh," right? And then do it faster once you got it. That's a really, really fun thing. See, on this side is a little bit more challenging, and I can feel I have to think about it. Okay, so this is a really great practice to, balance the two sides of your brain and get used to using your non-dominant hand for things. Um, the other thing you can do, unless you're in some sort of competition, is of course when you're playing sports, right? Is trying the other side. So when I was doing golfing, I couldn't decide which side. I had to decide a side, so I decided to do it, I guess, right-handed. But with hockey, for whatever reason, I decided the left-hand side, and you had to decide because you have to buy a stick that is or golfing the golf equipment, which is relative to which side you want. So I ended up right hand on one side, left on the other. With batting, I could actually do both sides with baseball, although I was not that good at baseball. But it was fun though. Tennis, definitely right-handed. Although I did the double backhand in the past, that was kind of fun. But I could do the single backhand. Tennis with the left hand was definitely not very good, but I didn't actually try it. That was way back when, before I thought about this whole balancing thing. The other really cool thing you do, and it's hard for me to demonstrate here because of how close I am to the camera, but you can take, let me see if I can, well, it's probably not going to work, but you can take your right hand, okay, and you can do this circle. So you can do the circle. Now I'm going in, when I'm looking at my hand, clockwise, okay. If I can stand on one leg and do the opposite leg. Okay, this is the easy one. The opposite leg. Okay, if this is, pretend this is my leg. The opposite leg, okay, is going to go opposite. Okay, that is relatively easy. You're like, oh, no problem. This is easy, right? Okay, now you can do the opposite leg going the same direction. So same direction. I'm trying to do it with my leg and that's not helping. Okay, so so you can do, so same and opposite, okay, is usually fairly easy. Now, there are some people that are not going to be able to do that. So I would say definitely practice that if you're one of them. Okay, because there is some connections here that are missing or not connected. So you want to increase those connections, right? So opposite directions, okay? This way, opposite directions, okay? Or same direction, okay? Now, here's the challenge part. Same leg. Okay, so if this is my right, and pretend this is my leg down here, same leg, okay? What's easy is going the same direction, right? Same direction. So you're standing on one leg, okay? And you're going like this with your hand, and this is my leg below, okay? My foot, my ankle actually. You can do it through your knee or your ankle, whichever. I usually do it through I just usually lift the whole leg, or well, sorry, I lift the leg and then I just bend the knee. Okay, so here is the challenge. You're going to go one way, same side, opposite. Oh, not so easy, is it? Am I being mean? No, it's kind of fun. I love doing this with kids, right? Because they're like, "Oh, this is easy," right? Until they get to this part. But you know what? They do get it faster, I have to say, than adults. Yeah. So on the same side of the body, it is definitely more challenging to go in opposite directions. You want to do it with the other leg, right? But we're talking the same side. So this is just a little test, a little fun thing you can do just to see where you're at. It does take some practice. I got it down now, but every adult that I've shown, they're like, ugh, how do we do this, right? So the other brain gym exercise that you can do, aside from, this one and, this one, right, is that this is the easiest one. I should have started with this one, I suppose, is you can do what's called a cross crawl. So cross crawl is where you, see if I can stand up and my head's going to get cut off a little bit. So where you actually connect your knee to the opposite elbow, okay, like this, and that actually helps to balance the sides of your brain as well. Amazingly, people cannot do this, and then I know there's definitely a problem. So this is what they do. Okay. And I'm like, no, the opposite. And they continue doing this. They don't get it. It's cross your body. Okay, this is a type of brain gym that you can do. And yeah, check your family. Just say, hey, I want to do this test. I'll try it out, and see if they can do it. So for those that cannot, usually there is a brain balance issue. Now, if they can, then if you do that, it actually strengthens your energy field. Supposedly, if you did muscle testing before and after, they would actually be stronger in terms of resistance, to an outside person doing muscle testing after they do the cross crawl. Sometimes if their arm is kind of weak and they can't even get a lock on a muscle test, having them do that cross crawl actually activates the meridians and energy system in the body. And then now they get a lock when you do the muscle testing on them. Little tip there for two-person muscle testing. And if they're just doing that one side, they're usually sometimes they may be polarity reverse. There would be other issues. They may have some difficulty if you're trying to muscle test them because things are not communicating as well. So those are just some things that that you can do just for fun. But like I said, if you just go about your day and pick one or two things to start with to do with the opposite hand. For example, brushing your teeth. So in the morning, just because I want to make sure it's like working, I brush with my right hand, relatively thoroughly, right? And then at night, I brush with my left hand. It's not as good as the right yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. And it's just a habit. And then it makes me, again, my mind activate, hey, I'm in my new reality, right? Because I'm brushing with the left hand. And same thing with gloves in the pocket or keys in the pocket. I'm constantly changing it, you know? So I'm like, keys, oh, wait, it's the other side, right? Sometimes I'll surprise myself and put it on the right side instead of the left and left instead of the right. So it's kind of fun. And just know you're balancing your body, you're strengthening your body, and you're flexing your mind and actually balancing both sides of your brain as well, which is super cool. Hey, Fred. So, so that's this week's Healthy Habit, Healthy Life video, episode 17. You can find all of the videos so far that I have done on the Healthy Habits, Healthy Life playlist, YouTube. You can just go to karencan.com/HHHL. That's the pretty link to get to all of those videos. And I look forward to next week's video to sharing something with you. I hope you enjoy these. And if you haven't already and you're on one of the platforms like YouTube, things like that, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you like this video, feel free to share it with whoever you think might have some fun. Definitely share this one, right? I can't wait to tell me what that was like. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So thank you so much for joining me and for watching this video. I look forward to next week and we'll talk later. Bye for now.